Good morning. It is time for the Mike Hewitt Show, brought to you by RenegadeRiver.com. And now is your host ready to go? He's smiling. He's happy because his long-lost coffee mug, or is that a mug, or is that one of those? Look, to me, it looks like a coffee silo.
Listen, it is kind of. Listen, I'm telling you, this is my Tim Hortons mug.
Okay.
And for listeners that are going, what the heck are they talking about? Last Wednesday when I left my mug in the station. You don't understand, folks. That's a crisis. I can't. Another cup just won't work. So I was opining the loss of my mug on Facebook, and Brian Thomas put a picture of my lost mug there. Anyhow, good morning, West Michigan. Listen, we've got a really big show today, so let's dive right in if we might. In the station with me is Ludwig von Wiedendorsky, and I think right now he's trying to see if the audio on our streaming is actually working. And then we've also got Miles Bauer, who is our co-host from the great state of Illinois. And our guest this morning is Scott Hagerstrom, who is Michigan's, the Trump campaign's Michigan state director. Scott, welcome to the Mike Hewitt Show.
Great. Thank you for having me on.
Hey, listen, I want to set this up right, Scott, so you can get a flavor for where we're at in the show right now. Along with the streaming that just tipped over. Listen, where we're at, just to give you some background, during the primary campaign running up, we had a lot of fun on this show, specifically between Miles and I, because I tended to be a cruiser, and he's from the very beginning a Trump-publican. So with that, I think he's earned the right. I'm going to have him do a little banter with you. Miles, you have the comm, my friend.
All righty, I certainly appreciate it. Scott, welcome. I got to tell you, I am thrilled to be able to talk to you. I know Illinois has created some challenges for Trump when he tried to speak down here. Not really proud of that, but I was proud to go out and vote for him in the primaries, and he did carry the state down here. I am kind of curious, though, are you getting any type of internal polling with respect to those issues that are concerning Michigan folks to flip Michigan from a blue state to a red state?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not free to disclose any internal polling, but I think even if you look at the polling that's out there, you look at the issues of the day, the issues that are concerning most Americans, the economy, jobs, terrorism, immigration. Those are issues that the American people view Donald Trump is far more qualified than Hillary Clinton to address. You know, I think we saw clearly yesterday, even though we didn't have a criminal indictment, we saw clearly yesterday the indictment on Hillary's judgment, on her character. And, you look at polls in battleground states, there's still a lot of undecided voters. And this race it's just starting. We really just kicked this off here at the convention in 2 weeks.
Yeah, and are you getting? I mean, is the national team starting to come together? I mean, is Manafort bringing you everything that you need?
Yes, most definitely. There's a lot of things that have been happening internally in the last couple of weeks. A lot of things, that will be disclosed publicly here soon. And the team is really coming together. A lot of hires, a lot of internal hires, a lot of strategic plans being laid out in the battleground states and a few states that we believe we can steal from Hillary Clinton. And, I'm very confident in what I'm seeing that, we are on a road to really take it to Hillary Clinton, and certainly there's a lot of material there. There's 25 years or more of material that we can use against Clinton, and it's not just about Hillary Clinton, but it's about the American people. Too often we talk in terms of Democrat and Republican, but I think really this is a race about the American people versus the elites in Washington, D.C. that have ran this country into the ground with $19 trillion in debt, trillions wasted in the Middle East with nothing to show for it. And it's time that we take a new direction.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, that was the whole thing that kind of attracted me to Trump right out of the gates. I just got weary of constantly having to support the establishment because I didn't want to have a Democrat there. So, I mean, finally I kind of got a breath of fresh air a little bit, and I had to drag people whose name rhymes with Mike Hewitt over to the Trump train. So,
Sure.
Here I am minding my own business, getting taken a shot at.
There's a lot of good people.
Scott,
Yes.
if I'm a person in Michigan right now listening to the radio, apart from contributions, how else can I help the Trump campaign now?
Well, the best thing that you can do is to go to DonaldJTrump.com, DonaldJTrump.com, and sign up to volunteer. Sign up to get our updates. We are going to be out there making phone calls, hitting doors, working the social media, distributing yard signs, bumper stickers, and getting the message out there. We have a huge task ahead of us because often the mainstream media is not favorable in their reports, not only against Donald Trump, but on any Republican. We've seen that time and time again, but we've seen that despite that, we can win. We saw that in 1980 with Ronald Reagan. We saw that with George W. Bush in 2000. And this is very, very winnable. We see Hillary Clinton's negatives are very, very high and much more deep-rooted than some of those with Donald Trump.
Hey, Scott, let me jump in for just a second, Scott. One of the things that's been concerning us, and in fact on this show and then in general in the political, is trying to get some unification. And I guess from my vantage, it looks like Hillary, in this case maybe the FBI director, while he didn't do what we'd hoped he would do, and that was follow the law, I do believe the words that he put out yesterday, they've got to be a great unifier for the Republican Party. Is that the feeling within the Trump campaign?
Yes, very, very much so. That was an indictment. The FBI director's words were an indictment of Hillary Clinton's judgment and her character. And, we're going to see the FBI director. It looks like he's going to be testifying before committees on Congress, and we're going to be able to dig much deeper into his statements, and that's very much going to be a unifying factor for our side. There are a lot of great candidates that ran on the Republican side. We had a record 17 candidates, and a lot of the supporters were very emotional with their support. And we see most of those people coming over, and we know that's hard to do because you do invest a lot of time, emotional energy in that. But those people are coming over; they're coming on board, and we see people like former Congressman Pete Hoekstra that's fully on board, and he's coming out with a book in August that's an indictment on Obama and Hillary Clinton's foreign policy and how they caused many of the problems that are happening right now in the Middle East. So it's exciting to see those people come on board, and I think the unification, we're going to see that at the convention in 2 weeks. We're going to have a great convention, and I think what you're really going to see is a lot of the Bernie supporters are really upset, and they're really seeing. I think they're really identifying with Trump's statement that the system is rigged, and when we saw that yesterday when the FBI director, look at the treatment of Petraeus over what happened there, which was far less serious than what happened with what Hillary Clinton did, and it's like night and day.
That is an excellent point, Scott, about the Bernie supporters. I know there was some polling that's saying at a minimum we're going to pull, we meaning Trump, is going to pull at least 1 of 5, if not 2 of 5, of all of the Bernie supporters. Are you seeing any other data north of that, or?
I think that's pretty accurate. I mean, just to be able to pull 1 in 5, 2 in 5 would be tremendous. These elections are very, very close, and just pulling off a few percentage points here and there from different coalitions and different groups, to be able to pull that away from, just to pull 10% of 10 to 20% of Bernie supporters would be huge. Is huge, and I think what happened yesterday is just reinforces that the system's rigged, and that's a lot of the reason that Bernie had the support that he did, because you do have a lot of anti-establishment sentiment in the Democratic Party, and Hillary Clinton, if you want more of what's been going on, then you'll support Hillary Clinton. If you want more debt, trillions of dollars in debt, more money wasted, more special interest deals, more business as usual, Hillary Clinton is your person, and that's not what Bernie Sanders supporters wanted. They want change, and Donald Trump, they may not like some of the things he says, but when you get down to his policies and the things he's going to implement and the changes he's going to implement, if you're a Bernie Sanders supporter, Donald Trump is your guy.
Yeah, no, I mean, that is one of the things Mike and I have discussed consistently across the primaries is that there was just as much unhappiness on the Republican side as there was on the Democrat side, and that the press was really only emphasizing the disharmony on the Republican side, but Mike and I kept kind of pounding the point home that this is across the board unhappiness with what was going on in Washington. And I think, one of the key things where I think Bernie and Trump lined up had to do with trade. And, that was consistent against Hillary. That made Hillary kind of back away from, some of her trade positions, at least in word, maybe not necessarily in deed, but
right. I mean, she outright flip-flopped. She wrote her book, and she supported the TPP, the trade deal that will make the previous trade bill her husband signed look small and comparing the damage that would do. And the second edition of her book took that whole paragraph out. She's completely flip-flopped, trying to hide the truth of where she stands on these trade issues from the American people. And it's more business as usual. She's being a politician. And that Donald Trump is not a politician. He doesn't know how to be a politician. And, I would urge your listeners and those people out there, we need to save our country. We need to bypass the mainstream media, and we need your help. We need everyone we can get out there. This is do or die for our kids and our grandkids. We can't continue to go down this road. I mean, you look at the problems that Greece has had and Italy has had and some of these other countries with their massive amounts of debt. And, that's the road we're going down. And you look at some of these wars that we're fighting. I mean, Hillary Clinton she's dangerous. She's dangerous. We see what happened in Benghazi. We see the condition of the Middle East, and she will not own that.
I think the Fed director was exactly right when he said she's extremely careless. Listen, for folks that are on the bubble and can't decide which way to go on it, especially for the guys and girls that are part of the Sanders thing. I'm quoting, this is help with Jim Riley, by the way. I'm quoting Harry Truman. You can't get rich in politics unless you're a crook. And it seems like listen, it's just a fact. Right. Trump's earned his money. I applaud him for that. Hillary has stole her money. And man, why would any rational mind want more of that?
It's right. Again, if you want more of the same, you got more debt, you have more wars that result in nothing and no gain and don't make our country safer, then go with Hillary Clinton. If you want a growing economy, you want more jobs, you want to lift up the middle class, you want to have a smart immigration policy so that we know who's coming into this country. We don't want terrorists coming to this country. We don't want people with TB and these other infectious diseases like has been reported on. Donald Trump is your guy. Those are the issues of the day, and he's the only one willing to address them.
Scott Hagerstrom, listen, we're out of time, but before we go, do me a favor, give listeners one more shot at the address to get more information about Trump's campaign.
Yeah, go to DonaldTrump.com. That's DonaldTrump.com, and sign up. We need your help. This is about the future of our country, and with the help of your listeners, we can take back our country and we can make America great again.
When we get to the other side of the convention, Scott, I'm hoping you'll come back on with us.
Oh, certainly. Most certainly. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Very, very good. Thank you very much, Scott Hagerstrom. Folks, we're going to go to a break, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Mike Hewitt.
Renegade River, guns and ammo, and so much more. Old-fashioned service with surprisingly low prices. On M104 at the top of the new 231 bypass in Utica. Or find us at renegaderiver.com, because you deserve it.
Homeowners, warmer weather is finally here, and it's time to schedule your air conditioning system check or free in-home replacement estimate. Call now to make sure your air conditioner is ready to make you comfortable this summer. At Lasco, we answer our phones, show up at your convenience, and give you a guaranteed price in writing before we start any work. Remember, Lasco specializes in keeping your family safe, comfortable, clean, and guarantees your satisfaction.
Lasco Plumbing and Mechanical. When you need us, we'll be there.
Port City Pistol has guns, ammo, and accessories that you need for personal protection for you and your family. Practice your shooting skills in their indoor range. Port City Pistol also has rifles, shotguns, and hunting supplies. Port City Pistol, keeping you safe. Airline Road in Muskegon.
Thirsty? Mr. Quick has ice-cold Pepsi, black cherry kickstart, refreshing iced coffees, frozen lemonade, smoothies, creamy thick shakes, and more. Cool off and say goodbye to thirst. Get yours today at any Mr. Quick location.
The Muskegon Motorcycle Club brings you the 3-day hill climb at Dan Raymond Park in Bridgeton this Friday through Sunday. Friday and Saturday, the nice hot brass drags begin at 8. At 10 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday, watch machines and riders face the Sidewinder at Dan Raymond Park. 3-day passes with camping just $25. 2-day passes with camping just $20. Sunday attendance just $15. Friday or Saturday grass drags only just $5. Kids 10 and under are free this Friday through Sunday. For details, visit MuskegonMotorcycleClub.com.
Every day is Hump Day at Lewis's Farm Market, but on Wednesdays, Jeffrey the Camel has a special for the whole family. Wristbands are buy one, get one free all summer long. Come see the animals, race the pedal carts, and mine for gems. US 31 North to exit 140, LewisFarmMarket.com.
Batten Baker is the home of the low price guarantee on Chevrolets, Cadillacs, GMCs, and Buicks. And we're lighting the fuse on the 4th of July savings.
Hi, this is Blake from Batten Baker. You don't want to miss our 4th of July sales explosion going on right now. Every vehicle in our massive inventory is on sale. Get 20% off most vehicles. Plus, we are the only dealer anywhere paying you $5,200 minimum for your trade. Our entire sales staff is ready to help you lower your current monthly payment. Batten Baker low price guarantee and $5,200 minimum for your trade. You will never buy a new Chevy, Cadillac, GMC, or Buick for less. $10,000 savings on Silverados. 0% financing for 60 months and Silverado payments starting as low as $169 a month. Drive the all-new Cruze or Malibu starting at $79 a month. Or Buick Encores at $159 a month. Plus 20% off most vehicles. We monitor the competition so we know firsthand you're getting the best bottom line deal. This is one 4th of July sale you can't afford to miss.
Both sides of Henry Street, Muskegon, and I-96 Coopersville.
RenegadeRiver.com is new and used firearms. All priced to sell, plus ammo, reloading supplies, optics, clothing, lasers, and yes, tactical gear. RenegadeRiver.com, family owned right here in Michigan, because you deserve it. And this is the Mike Hewitt Show, brought to you by RenegadeRiver.com, and already into segment number 2.
Hey, welcome back, Michigan. Listen, if you're just dialing in the station with us is Ludwig von Wiedenhoeft. I don't know what you're doing right now.
Trying to stay awake.
It's not working. and Brian Thomas keeping us on path. Miles Bauer from the great state of Illinois is with us. And listen, a long-term friend of mine, Steve Redman, is on the line with us. He is the president of the Ottawa Patriots. Now, Steve, welcome to the Mike Hewitt Show.
Thanks, Mike.
Hey, you've got a big event coming up.
Yes, we do. Next Tuesday, July the 12th, from 7 to 9 p.m., we're hosting an important forum titled Transgender Access, a Civil Right or Social Engineering, with a question mark. And it's not a debate. It's basically an educational forum to bring in a dynamic panel of experts on all aspects of this issue to really educate people in West Michigan what's going on, and to hopefully equip them to take some action to prevent
the worst abuses of this being mandated by the federal government and being coercion from the Michigan Department of Education.
So in my view, Steve, tell me if I'm off in the ditch, but in my view, they're no longer saying please be tolerant, but rather they're advocating these things as a lifestyle choice.
It's sort of a one-way tolerance.
Yep.
Accept the unacceptable, and everybody else can go fly a kite. Basically, it's a mandate, and even though there was some admission that what they're doing wasn't exactly legal, it's the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules, and if you don't comply with this mandate from the Department of Education, you stand to lose a lot of money for your school districts.
You got to know Corporal Klinger is really upset over it.
Well, basically, we have a tremendous panel that's going to be looking at all of the legal, political, and social aspects on these issues, including such things as Title IX funding cuts to public, possibly Christian schools and colleges, current research on treatment for gender identity disorders, potential impact and all the unintended consequences of these mandates, and the encroachment of individual parental and religious freedom rights, and most importantly, what can concerned citizens do to deal with it. A lot of people feel powerless to fight City Hall or stand up against the government, but we have a tremendous panel, and we have information for people, and we have plans of action that you can do something in your local community to make a difference.
Now, I know you said it wasn't a debate, but are you going to have folks on all sides of the issue at your forum?
Not really, because it's not a debate. The affirmative side of this social engineering is pretty much accepted by the mainstream media, your show excluded. I'm certainly not considered part of mainstream media. No, you're probably considered lunatic fringe by the cultural elite.
Oh, why, thank you.
Well, I would be also. But basically, the general public is getting a very one-sided picture of this. It's being painted as a civil right and a compassionate thing to do. And we're going to actually show the compassionate thing is not to do this. We're going to have handouts from places like the American College of Pediatricians. And one of the findings in their report was a person's belief that he or she is something they are not is at best a sign of confused thinking. And they also said in their report, conditioning children into believing that a lifetime of chemical and surgical impersonation of the opposite sex is normal and healthful is considered child abuse by them. And so we've got a lot of hard-hitting information, and it's not opinion-based, it's research-based. One of our speakers has spent most of his career, Thomas Coy, researching the treatment of homosexuality and gender identity disorder. He's got a couple degrees and advanced degrees from U of M, and he's done some tremendous work in the field studying the history of this and the different treatment modalities, and that's going to be an eye-opener for people. We also have Professor William Wagner, who is an eminent attorney. He's a former federal judge, former federal prosecutor, former highly regarded law school professor, and he currently has cases before the U.S. Supreme Court in defense of religious liberty. So he's a very, very knowledgeable attorney that will be looking at all the legal aspects of it.
I gotta tell you, Steve, we're out of time, but do me a favor before we've got to let you go. Tell folks again the information on how to take part or be a part of this event of yours.
Okay, well, you can go to the OttawaCountyPatriots.org, and the information will be on their website. And it's going to be Tuesday, July 12th, next Tuesday, 7 to 9, in Zeeland at the Howard Miller Community Center. It's right in downtown Zeeland. It's connected with their library. So OttawaCountyPatriots.org, and it's in downtown Zeeland at the Howard Miller Community Center, Tuesday, July 12th, 7 to 9 p.m.
Very, very nice. Listen, Steve Rebman, thank you very, very much for joining us, and we'll make sure to have you back on as we get further into the election year.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much, Steve.
Yep.
Now, listen, Miles in Ludwig, we've got a lot on our plate today.
Oh, yeah.
Did anyone pay attention to the FBI director yesterday?
I almost crashed my car going to school when I heard the announcement on the radio.
Yeah. Hey, Miles, do you remember back when who was it? I know you'll know this right away, but Reagan was in a debate and he said, I hate to take advantage of my opponent's youth and inexperience. Who was the candidate he was running against?
Good old Walter Mondale.
That was Mondale. And of course, Mondale said that he knew at that point he was done. He realized in that simple shot, his campaign was over with.
He laughed.
Because he knew. I just got shot right in the campaign, okay? And he knew it. But the reason I'm bringing that up is I'm saying, how we have changed in this country, because we went from that being a campaign ender to the progressive left in America saying extremely careless is no problem, there were no charges. Should have known, especially concerning, still obligated to protect it, generally lacking, hostile actors, sophisticated adversaries. These are not campaign killers. You go, what? How can that not be a campaign killer? I don't get where we're at as a culture. What say you, Miles?
Yeah, I mean, and I think I texted you this a couple days back about how stunning the turnabout in the primaries have been. I mean, the turnout for the Republicans are up 62% this year over 2012.
Right.
And the Democrat turnout is down 21% in comparison to how they turned out in 2008.
And listen, folks, the reason that's important is that we're absolutely immersed in constant polling. Some of it push polling, meaning the poll has been done and either weighted in such a way or verbalized in such a way as to cause a purposeful outcome to the numbers. And so that's what we're being inundated with daily from all sides. And the reality of it is that there's a lot of folks that are perhaps not paying attention or didn't pay attention to the FBI director's actual words and thought, well, she wasn't charged, we knew she was innocent, let's move on. But the truth of it is that this is damning to the spirit of the folks that support her. It just is. The Democratic Party in total, I mean, I surfed Facebook yesterday and Twitter looking at progressive friends and, frankly, some of the progressive friends' friends trying to get a feel for it. And I found that fascinating because a lot of them are, same with progressive radio yesterday. Well, what are the Republicans going to say now that that's over? I went, how can you think of this in terms of it being over when you know you're trying to advance someone to the highest office in the land that cannot control the top secret information we're charging her with?
Not only can she not control it, she wouldn't pass a background check to even get a job as a janitor at the FBI right now.
No.
Yeah, you're going to give her the utmost level of security.
No, when I came on this morning earlier, I was with John Van White in the Muskegon station, and we were doing a little warm-up for this thing for just a few minutes as their show came to an end. And one of the things that he said, he spent 40 years hiring people, and this would have never been a hiree. But yet there are millions of people going, well, golly, we got that behind us now. She's wonderful.
On the other hand, though, they have said that our fearless leader now wouldn't have passed a background check either. And
because he doesn't have a background.
Yeah, and he's got the job. So
there's a lot of time.
I can tell you the highlight of my day yesterday.
But I don't listen. I don't think he was a criminal.
No.
I think of her in terms of she's a criminal.
Oh yeah, there's a difference in how they wouldn't pass it.
She's crooked. I mean, it was kind of telling that our friend Jim Riley, when he sent out this email with the quote from Truman, wasn't Truman a Democrat?
Yep.
Yeah.
You can't get rich in politics unless you're a crook. Listen, to me, that says it all. It really does. She's gotten rich in politics because she's a crook. And then people were pointing at Trump because he's been successful. I go, well, how do people add that up?
Al Gore left the White House as a vice president broke, and he's $200 million.
But he's been selling What are those carbon credits?
Yeah.
That's got to be the greatest scam I've ever seen.
I'm going to make a documentary about global warming where I ride around my private plane all day.
The idea that people, yeah, I'm in. I go, you're in, really? Serious? And I don't, what do you think, Miles? I hear you laughing.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what is even more priceless, given that he's saying California is going to be underwater soon.
Yep.
And yet his home is beachfront property in California.
Right.
Got a deal on it.
Well, you got a deal, yeah. You paid for it with someone else's dough.
Well, somebody sold it really cheap.
Won't that take care of the water shortage in California?
Are you trying to say? No, never mind.
So, yesterday, I'm driving to class, and I got XM radio, so you listen to Fox.
Yeah.
11:01, here comes the FBI director. Paxton's in the back seat. He came to class with me yesterday. If you don't know, he's my 5-year-old. He's with us normally. And
that's not the same in here without Pax, by the way.
No, I'm not being bothered every 10 seconds. It's great.
Shame on you. And you never bring donuts. Pax bring donuts.
I know. So we're driving, and I'm like, yes, okay, this is the day of reckoning. Here it comes. And he's listening in the back seat, and it gets done, and I'm mad. Call my wife, and I said, hey, I just want to ruin your day, too. Hillary's not being indicted, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden I hear him go, she didn't do it? She's not getting indicted? I said, nope, they're not doing it. He goes, no! Like, he screamed no for a good 3 or 4 seconds.
Well, that's because you've got him brainwashed.
Then I said, Paxton, what? He goes, she did it. She lied. You can't lie and not get in trouble. Somebody needs to make her be in trouble. You lie, you get in trouble.
That's true.
That's what a 5-year-old knows. If you lie, you get in trouble.
Yeah, mostly.
And your last name starts with a C and ends with Linton.
Now you're starting to sound like Miles with the name that rhymes with me.
But I didn't just state the name. I guess what he meant was sounds like Mike Hewitt with a T at the end.
There's my lifelong friend taking a shot at me.
I thought that you would appreciate that.
Did it bother either one of you guys that he yesterday put a disclaimer in that I had not discussed this with anybody before he started the speech?
Oh, when he came out alone?
Yeah, he came out, gave it out, and said, by the way, I discussed this with nobody. It's like
I got to tell you, part of the difference between me and maybe most folks on this topic is I have absolutely zero faith in our legal system, especially on a federal level, but in general. Miles was listening to me babble about how corrupt and inept I think our judiciary is. How long I've been on that bandwagon, 15 or 20 years? It's an absolute train wreck. It just is. So the idea that she was going to get charged, I mean, I wrote on Facebook the other day, for many years I've discounted our federal AG's office and the FBI as nothing more than a political apparatus. Equally, I have pointed to our judiciary as the single most broken branch of government. I wasn't overly surprised, shocked, or even disappointed by the FBI director's comments. These things are to be expected, held in check by the people. Now, that's the caveat I've got to point to. What's supposed to happen in a system when people are drunk with power is the people are saying, no, that power belongs to us. They're supposed to grab it and take it back from these thieves and lechers. And they're not doing that. So I go on to say, unfortunately, just short of an hour surfing social media identifies the real problem. An incredible number of citizens are relieved or excited by the seeming collapse of morality within our federal legal structure. I remind myself not to be shrill, not to be an alarmist. Throughout our history, scoundrels have been placed above the law, but never before had millions of people applauded it. That, to me, is the real crisis. A lot of folks are either, well, that's just the way it is, they're crooked, and then moving on. No, this is a crisis in government, in my view. I really is.
I think it started with her husband.
The idea, I think it started with Andrew Jackson. Who knows when it started? The problem is the people are just going to say, a portion of our side are going to shrug and say, well, what can we do? The other side is almost entirely applauding, except for the 1 to 2 out of every 5 that Miles talked about. Mm-hmm. A lot of those young people may not agree economically with us, but a lot of those folks have integrity and character, and they're going to say, you know what, we may or may not agree on those issues, but the truth has got to be what's important here. What do you think, Miles?
I completely agree, Mike, but, you know, and maybe I'm looking for a silver lining here, but I think we may not necessarily know what's going on behind the scenes, but I think Comey chose his words very well at the beginning of that statement when he went line by line indicting Hillary. I don't know what held him back from actually moving forward or suggesting that the AG move forward, but I think Comey was laying out all of Hillary's crimes.
I agree,
in very
Miles.
large detail. So I think there was another agenda going on there.
I partly agree with you. I agree with everything you said and how he laid it out. In fact, I should have went a little bit further with my comments a second ago. The reason I don't believe he advanced it, by the way, I do agree that there was some backroom shenanigans, and no, they weren't talking about grandbabies. That's stupid and insulting. That aside, I think he's also a realist and knows that she's never going to be found guilty, so why bother charging her? Let me go out and say what she actually did. But that was my point when I said that our judiciary is the single most broken branch of government. We're always focused on what the Congress is doing, what Senate's doing, what whoever's representative did what and said what, and who's going to be our president. And we all just walk along with our head in the clouds. It's not what I was going to say, but with our head in the clouds, thinking, well, we've got the best judicial system in the world. Folks, no, we don't. It's broken. And if you don't believe me, leave your country. If you're out in the country hearing me, get up out of your chair and go sit through I don't care whether it's prosecutorial or civil. Go to any city, United States of America, and sit through a court case. And when you get done, you will be aghast. And I believe that if we really want to change our culture going forward, that should be a requirement of all high school students before they can graduate. You must go spend 2 weeks in a courtroom listening to what takes place, because it's over the top. The average criminal case, plus or minus 50% of it, is debating what the jury can hear. That's ludicrous to me. Imagine sitting down with the founders and saying, we're going to spend half of a 3-year case, speedy trial, we're going to spend half of a 3-year case just debating on what the jury can hear. So a person that's not going to have an involvement in deciding, that's sitting out in the audience, can know vastly more about the case than the jury does. These things are insane. The idea that some folks can go to jail and spend the rest of their life, we can destroy Petraeus, there's a huge list of things. But folks like Clinton, and it's easy to pick on her because she's the latest rhyme, but this has always been the case. We don't do anything. 90-some% of the cases that are criminal basis, they're made a deal. They make a deal. They plead out.
According to Giuliani yesterday, the term gross negligence doesn't mean you have to have intent. If you look it up in the law dictionary, extremely careless is one of the words involved.
That's right.
And it was stated yesterday. Now, the question is, though, just because they don't recommend it doesn't mean this is a done deal. I don't think Loretta Lynch has come out and said that she's not indicting her. But when I listened to Kimberly Guilfoyle and Giuliani, two former prosecutors, one being a DA and everything, they both said any lawyer would take this case up. We don't know how he ever thought that no lawyer would.
Because he doesn't believe in the system. I don't know how else to say it to you.
Well, no, you can't.
Maybe someone scribbled him a check. Maybe someone prossed him. I'm not saying that there wasn't some crookedness going on, because our star player is a crook. We know that. Yeah. What's the new term? Lying, crooked Hillary. Those things are stone documentable facts. But the bigger problem, in my view, is that had she been charged with however many counts, let's say 110 counts, by the time she got done pleading, she'd have been no counts. It had been some other watered-down, nonsensical crime punishable by a $100 fee. You go, what? That happens in 90+% of the cases. Go sit in a courtroom for 2 weeks, I beg you. Then you'll help change the system.
You mean they're pleading down to fines so that they can make more money, basically?
Listen, maybe there's dough in it, but everyone's making dough. Doesn't matter who's winning or who's losing. Doesn't matter whether justice was served or not. Everyone in there is making dough. Do-re-mi, period.
Well, we know Hillary wouldn't have saw jail time. Obama would have pardoned her, which was one of your 3 predictions for the year. So luckily, I guess that one we're not going to see.
I don't know. I'm taking that one. I'm still taking it. Remember the other one, the third one, though? I had 3.
Yeah.
Trump's going to win.
Yep.
Obama's going to get caught in a sex scandal, and Hillary will get pardoned. This is kind of a pardon.
Yeah.
It's like golf. I'll take it as a gimme.
I guess it is a pardon. Okay, it's like a via pardon. Loretta Lynch, you're going to meet Bill. My biggest thing with this whole thing, and this case lasted a year, this investigation, And within a 4 to 5 day period, Bill Clinton meets Loretta Lynch on a plane. Hillary's immediately driven to testify, and all of a sudden we have an announcement. How did her testimony become the very last thing and be like, oh, I guess there's nothing to prove? No, all within a week. That is
on
strange.
Independence Day weekend.
Yeah, nobody's paid attention.
You know, guys, though,
Yeah.
the one thing I would point out, too, is that remember Comey also has knowledge of the Clinton Foundation investigation. And so potentially, and I'm not saying this is fact, I'm just throwing this out for discussion, he might have just let this fall through the cracks because he knows he's got him dead to rights on the Clinton Foundation.
I think you're absolutely right. Listen, I think we've got to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to do a little bit of an Enigma report. That's what I'm telling you. Folks, we'll be right back.
This is the Mike Hewitt Show on News Talk 1090.
Renegade River, guns and ammo, and so much more. Old-fashioned service with surprisingly low prices. On M104 at the top of the new 231 bypass in Utica. Or find us at renegaderiver.com because you deserve it.
3, 2, 1, 0.
You have arrived to your final destination on your journey through reality. Welcome to the Enigma Report. And yes, it is back.
So the question really, truly, for me, is what kind of culture do we have that would allow the FBI director's report yesterday to not cause a presidential candidate to be unviable? For me, honest to goodness, all of the rest of the stuff falling on the floor, I genuinely do not get how someone can look at Hillary Clinton and say, yes, I support her for president. I'm almost speechless at the topic. Miles, can you help me on this one? I'm stumped.
You know, I'm kind of speechless myself. I mean, I can't say that it was a huge surprise, but you still have to experience it to really believe that, you know, it's coming out the way it came out.
We keep hearing that this is like no election in at least modern history, and I know over the couple centuries there have been some really bumpy campaigns, but I having the FBI director say that you're extremely careless is not usually a campaign slogan. I don't get it. It isn't. By the way, guys, it isn't me trying to be partisan. I don't have my Republican hat on right now, and I'm not trying to be partisan. I swear to God, I'm not. I'm sitting here saying, as a citizen that wants America, regardless what path is the right path, as a citizen, I want my grandbabies to be in a safer, more secure environment. I want them to know some of the liberties I grew up with. All of those debates aside, though, I can't put that hat on and say, yes, someone who has done these acts on foreign territory, that makes sense. I don't get how someone, a constituent, I don't get how a citizen can read those words or hear them and say, I'm just glad we have that over with. To me, that's the biggest enigma we've ever tried to wrestle with.
It's funny because I was thinking about that yesterday.
We keep talking about, we don't talk anymore, but leading up to a few weeks ago, there was a lot of dialogue about how at the Republican convention they're going to try to snatch Trump off the stage and airdrop some whomever. Listen, when I look at the Democratic convention, honest to God, I don't understand how the elected Democrats, much less the check writers and the core volunteers, the grassroots of the Democratic Party, I honestly don't see how they can look at that candidate and say we're all in. I don't get it.
Yet our side's not going to write a check because the guy wants to build a wall.
Listen, I don't. I just. And there's the difference between saying I disagree with him on these three policies.
Yeah. So, I mean,
it's the difference between saying I didn't like how brash he was 3 months ago. This woman had the FBI director say that she was extremely careless, and that she mishandled top secret information. I can't even put it into words. It's so absolutely unimaginable that there are folks who go, yeah, but I'm going to vote for her.
I thought of this yesterday because I am wondering, how do you vote for her? But I think, okay, if it was our guy,
I'd be out. I would be out. That's one of our problems, by the way. One of the reasons we're divided
it's the
is
R and the D. Doesn't matter after that.
It's the ideology difference. We've got a lot of folks on our side that are actually hung up on things that matter to them.
Yeah,
and God bless them for that.
I mean, Nixon left over 3 minutes.
The other because our party went and said, you know what, your ride's over with.
That's what I mean.
You know, with her, they're going, it's okay. Keep going. Yeah. Here's another check.
Here's the broom. We'll put it under the rug.
I don't see it. I just can't make it add up in my head.
But people would still vote and support the person on the R side if this happened. No. Some.
I wouldn't.
Because they are R and D.
I can guarantee you this. I don't know about you, but if this was Trump, who the FBI director said these exact words about, listen, as much as Miles is a Trump-publican, if these things were true about Trump, him and I both would be on the sidelines this time. Am I wrong, Miles?
No, you are dead on. If Trump was maybe he's not guilty of breaking the law, but if he did what Hillary did, I would be totally off the train.
We'd be pushing for a third party. Not a third party, but another candidate in Cleveland.
We'd be saying now it's time to airdrop somebody.
Yeah, come on, Mitt. You got to get back in now or something.
This isn't a difference on delivery or whether what was obviously a Microsoft sheriff badge, whether that was really a star. You're listening to these nonsensical arguments that are designed to stink up the day to hide the fact that she was extremely careless with top secret information. You go, this is stupid. It's so laughable.
Was this only a week also? I just thought, is this just a week after the Benghazi report came out, too?
Oh, yeah.
They're really trying to get all this out before that convention.
They want it done. She's going to wheel out her vice presidential candidate that they're praying will change the tenor and tone of her candidacy, and all of the done lemmings will move on.
They don't know what's about to hit them. It's called the Trump train, and they are about. She is going to wake up with a huge headache in November. What is it, the 5th?
Now, on the other hand, do you think Bill sat around yesterday and say, I did it again? Ain't I something?
He did.
He did do it again. I don't get the American electorate. Honest to God, I just don't get it. I don't understand how this is a reality. Nowhere in history could this have been until now.
You know, a funny thing, Jeb Bush couldn't
Mike,
run because of Bush.
Keep in mind, though, the media might be suppressing something that I suspect's going on out there. I think people are way more enthusiastic for Trump than they are for Hillary. And I think the media wants to hide all of that. Going to your earlier point about polls, I think that they're picking certain polls and emphasizing them. I think that they're downsizing the emphasis of that they're polling more Democrats than they are Republicans so that it makes it look like Hillary's still in the game.
You may be exactly right.
Get people to stay home by thinking the other person has no chance. Why waste my time?
Next week, let's do a segment on exactly that, Miles. Let's look at polls because I think there are things out there in those numbers that they're pleading for the media not to cover. And that's probably the topic going on in their top secret internet exchanges between the media talking heads. That's what I believe. So let's plan on one of the segments next Wednesday to break apart the polls and see what they're really saying to us. Because I don't think they're telling us what... who are you waving at?
Your daughter, Marie's on.
Oh, is she? And Brian Thomas has got the magic signs going 15 seconds. Listen, folks, follow us on Twitter at Talk Mike Hewitt. Find us on Facebook at The Mike Hewitt Show. Thanks. We'll talk to you next Wednesday.